The following program is rated G. It is suitable for all audiences.
The views, opinions, charts, tables, and graphs used by the researchers are intended for project purposes only.
Hi everyone! Today we will learn the different tabulation or presentation of data with the use of graphs, charts, and tables in the field of statistics. But first, what is statistics?
Statistics is a science that deals with methods in the collection, gathering, tabulation, or presentation, analysis, and interpretation of numerical or quantitative data. In short, the basic function of statistics is to organize and summarize the data.
So, are you all ready everyone? But before we start, I am Maymay and I will be discussing the categorical frequency distribution.
Hi, I'm John and I'll be the one to discuss about the pie chart distribution, bar graph, and the Pareto chart.
Hi, I am Russell Marie and I am going to discuss to you the Euler frequency distribution together with its solutions and presentation of data.
Hi, I'm Michael and I'll be the one to discuss the frequency polygon.
Hi, I am Mariana going to discuss the whole chart and the histogram. Okay, now let's start the discussion in 3, 2, 1.
The study is entitled The Type of Social Media Application Mostly Used and How Frequent BPA-2A Students Check Their Social Media Accounts in a Day. The data were gathered from the 30 respondents from the Bachelor in Public Administration second year Set A students of Davao del Norte State College. In this study, the sampling technique that was used is the clustered, wherein the researchers chose the students of BPA-2A to be the respondent of the said study. The qualitative variables in the study aims to answer the question on what type of social media application that is most used by the BPA-2A students, and the quantitative variable aims to answer the question on how frequent BPA-2A students check their social media accounts in a day. In order to understand deeper, let's start with the qualitative data. The table shows the 30 responses of the BPA-2A students, in which they indicated the social media application that they mostly used. While in the quantitative, we presented the data from the respondents on how frequent BPA-2A students check the social media accounts in a day. The first one is the categorical frequency distribution, refers that the data should be placed in specific categories in order to classify the data. In the first column, we can see the different social media applications that is mostly used by the BPA-2A students. Also, it can be seen in the table that Facebook has the most numerous tally in column 2, with 21, and the frequency in column 3, followed by YouTube with 5, Twitter and Instagram with 2. In the fourth column, we can see the percentage rate of each class. In getting the percentage, we should divide the frequency of a class to the total number of data and multiply it to 100. As expected, Facebook got the biggest percentage of all the social media applications that BPA-2A students mostly used, followed by YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram respectively.
Pie chart or circle chart is a circular statistical graphic which is divided into slices to illustrate numerical proportion. Since Facebook has the highest percentage, it comprises the 17% of the chart, followed by YouTube with 17%, Instagram and Twitter with 7%. While in the bar graph, we will use the frequency of each class. Bar graph presents categorical data with rectangular bars with heights or lengths proportional to the values that represents. One axis of the chart shows the specific categories being compared, and the other axis represents a measured value. Facebook has 21, YouTube has 5, and lastly are the Instagram and Twitter has 2, same as with the Pareto chart.
We are done with the qualitative data together with its corresponding charts, graphs, and tables. And now, let's proceed to the presentation of quantitative data. In making the grouped frequency distribution, we will find first the approximated class width. And to get the approximated class width, we will follow this formula. Approximated class width is equal to range divided by the number of class. In order to get the range, you need to subtract the lowest data from the highest data. And to get the number of class, we will follow the formula 1 plus 3.322 log quantity of n, which stands for the total number of data. So here's the solution. Approximated class width is equal to 20 minus 2 divided by 1 plus 3.322 log times 30, which resulted to 18 divided by 5.906996808, which resulted to 3.047233744, or 3, which will serve as our basis in getting the class interval. The table for the grouped frequency distribution are composed of class interval, class boundary, class mark, tally, frequency, cumulative frequency, the percentage, and the cumulative percentage. In the class interval, since 2 is the lowest data, we will count by 3 from 2, which resulted to 4. The same procedure will be followed up to the highest class interval. In getting the class boundary, we should always remember that there are two types of class intervals. On the left side is the lower class limit, and on the right side is the upper class limit. We will reduce to 0.5 in the lower class limit and add 0.5 to the upper class limit. While in getting the class mark, we will add the lower and the upper class limit and divide it by 2. In the problem, we added 2 and 4 and we got 6. Then we divided it by 2, so we got 3. In getting the tally, we will rely on the data from the respondents and classify them according to their interval. For example, we have data number 3, which we classify under the class interval 2 to 4, since 3 belongs to the 2 to 4 intervals. To get the frequency, you must convert the data from the tally, and in getting the cumulative frequency, the first number in the frequency will be copied and then add the second number, and the sum will be the second cumulative frequency, and you will just add the next number in the frequency until you reaches the total number of data. For the percentage, the previous formula should be followed, which is percentage is equal to frequency of each class divided by the total number of class times 100. And in getting the cumulative percentage, the same procedure in getting the cumulative frequency shall be followed, but we will base it on the percentage column until we reaches 100%.
Frequency polygons are graphical devices for the understanding the shapes of distributions. In the given data presenting how frequent the BPA-2A students check their social media accounts in a day, we will use the class mark and the frequency that was shown previously in the table of the group frequency distribution.
And now we're going to discuss the histogram. Histogram displays of statistical information that uses rectangles to show the frequency of data items and successive numerical intervals of equal size. And to present the histogram on how frequent the BPA-2A students check their social media accounts in a day, we will use the class boundary and the frequency of the grouped frequency distribution table. Next is the ogive, sometimes called a cumulative frequency polygon. It's a type of frequency polygon that shows cumulative frequencies. The ogive on how frequent the BPA-2A students check their social media accounts in a day. We will use the class boundary and the cumulative frequency of the grouped frequency distribution table.
And that concludes our presentation. Thank you! Woo!